Just a quick one before we dive in. I've just opened up 2 brand new ways to work with me. If you're an established beauty professional who's ready to increase your revenue, either in your clinic or by moving into the online mentoring and educational space, you can join me for a 2-month container where we build and validate your first online offer or your next big move. Or if you're ready to go all in, there is a 7-month private mentorship where we build, launch and scale your new revenue stream together. If you're not sure which one's right for you, I'm offering a handful of free business clarity calls, quick and powerful to map out your fastest path and to see which container fits best. Just DM me the word revenue on Instagram or check the link in the show notes and email me. Let's get into the episode.
Welcome to the Beauty Build podcast with me, Zara King. As a coach for beauty pros, it is my mission to help you earn more, work less, and create an unstoppable mindset. This is the show where we explore all of that. So whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting your beauty business, this podcast is for you. So sit back, relax, and join us on the journey. And for more, get yourself inside my private community, The Beauty Build on Facebook. Welcome back, gorgeous people, to this episode today, all about how to create a memorable client experience in your beauty business. I think everybody I come across wants to know how to get new clients, and I think what you really need to focus on is how to retain the ones that you do get through the door. It's ridiculous how many people I see that are talking about, how to get new clients because they have got an issue in their business. They need to earn more money or they need something. And they think that the answer is always more clients. That's just not the case, because you probably don't have a client issue. You probably have a pricing issue or a selling issue, like a sales issue. You might have gaps in the diary, fine, but that doesn't always mean that you need new clients. It might mean that you need to, increase your prices, move things around, and actually you can probably work the hours that you're working and earn what you're already earning or more, right? So it doesn't always mean that you need new clients. And I think you need to really understand how to retain the ones that you've got, because it's less expensive than getting new clients through the door all the time through advertising or whatever. And I don't just mean expensive in money. I mean, yes, it is more expensive in money, but it's also more expensive in time. And time is the most, valuable thing that we have. So it is way more expensive to get more bums on seats than it is to retain the ones that you've got. So that's the first thing. And B, as well, you need to know how to create loyalty in your business, because if you don't, we're beauty therapists, right? We get paid when there is somebody in our chair or on the couch, whatever. And if you're not standing out, if you're not building trust and loyalty, if you're not creating that relationship so that they keep coming back, your business it's not a sustainable business. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to keep growing. It's going to be unpredictable. It's going to feel hard. So to make this business actually worthwhile and sustainable, and, to create what you need, which is a database full of loyal clientele, you need to focus on the client experience and how to retain the clients that you do have coming in. And that is the second reason that it's super, super important, because it's saturated, this market. We are in a competitive industry, very, very, very competitive. There's probably people, if you look to your left and look to your right, there's probably people like a stone's throw away from where you are that are doing something similar to what you do or exactly what you do, right? So you need to be thinking about how you can enhance and create such a good, memorable experience for the client. And the reason being is because people remember how they feel, right? They remember that. That's what we remember when we go to somewhere. We don't just think about what we saw. We don't just think about the treatment. We don't just think about those things. We think about what we felt when we leave. What is that sort of like aftertaste in our mouth? What is that thought in our mind? And how do we feel? That's what we remember. So I've got 7 things for you to think about when it comes to this kind of, area of growing your business, because I want you to start thinking about how are you going to enhance this in your business in this, in this year. What goals can you set around enhancing the client experience? It's one of the most important things that you can do. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the fact that you do actually need to understand your client. You need to understand the ideal client, what their needs are, what their preferences are, what they're into, what they like, what they don't like. You need to kind of understand your ideal clients more than they understand themselves. So you may or you may not have done ideal client work before. I remember when I was running my beauty business, I hadn't done any ideal client work until I went home-based. I would be complete transparency. I'd like to say I did a bit of it in salon, but I didn't really. It was more of a case of doing it when I went home-based. And I really needed this income. And I really needed to, nail down my pricing and my boundaries and my clients and my business. Everything had to be right because I really relied on this income then. I would say in salon that I focused on attracting clients and I focused on, taking my business seriously and treating it like a business, but not quite so much the actual ideal clients and what they needed. So I think, how do you understand at the moment? Have a little audit of your business. How much of your ideal clients' needs and desires and preferences do you actually already understand? That's the first thing. How are you effectively communicating to your ideal clients that you do understand, right? So, and then how are you effectively taking information from the ideal clients as well to gather that information about how they want that experience to be? So think about how you're taking that information, how, what you're basing it off of. I really think it's important for you to think about how are you actively listening to your clients? How are you taking what they want from them? How are you getting that out of them? How are you showing that you understand them? So that then you can meet that expectation and set the expectations up front for potential clients on social medias or different ways of marketing. Really have a think about those couple of things when it comes to understanding the client's needs and preferences. I think also if you do want to understand how to go into the ideal client even more specifically, if that's like a thing in your business that you're like, I just never have understood it, or I just don't get it, or I've not come across this before, because I can talk about it all day long, but some people may not have heard of it, and then other people might have just heard someone saying, you've got to talk to your ideal clients, and you just think, what does that even mean? So if that's something that you think, what are you on about with this? There is another episode on the podcast that you can have a little listen to. I'll link it in the description so that you can go back to it. The second point that I think is a really good thing for you to start thinking about, if you don't already, if you don't have this down to a T, is actually personalising your client experiences. So, explore this, explore the actual concept of personalisation. How do you do this in your beauty business? What are the opportunities that you will have based on the services that you do, because this is such a broad industry, we do so many different things. So based on what you actually offer, based on your setup, are there things that you can personalize? What are the opportunities? Just have a little, explore that and figure that out, and then think about ways that you are going to implement that and tailor people's services and their treatments to meet their individual needs. Think about how you can put that into your practices in your business, because the clients will absolutely love you for it. It might just be that you put on their favorite podcast when they're with you, which I did for a few clients, and that was really personal to them. It might be that there are other things that you can personalize with different clients when it comes to their skin and their consultations, or it might be their lashes, brows, aesthetics, whatever it is that you offer. It might be that you tailor a specific service to them. Maybe you talk about, all sorts of different bits to do with the actual service, could be nails. But how do you enhance that experience and personally make that different for them? For me, it was things like putting on their favourite podcast or their favourite music in the background and those kind of things. So think about personalisation. How can you do it? So many different things that you can do. That's another thing I want you to have a little think about. The third thing is, how do you create that kind of environment in the salon? So thinking about the actual salon space, how do you create a welcoming, comfortable, friendly, atmosphere so that client is feeling wowed as soon as they walk through the door? If it's a new client, for example, how are they feeling wowed? Because you want them to remember that so that they obviously come back. That's the whole point. So there is a huge significance of making this kind of environment something that gives them a feeling, and it would be very good if it could match the way that you are online, and if it could be this kind of cohesive feeling that you create from your advertising, your branding, your language that you use, the colours, all the rest of it, where they see you outside of the salon, to then when they're coming in, making sure that matches so that they get this feeling. And that will be different for everyone again. So it's just something to think about. It's, what is it that you're known for? What feeling is it that you want to create? Does your space reflect that? Does it make the client feel that? Is the atmosphere how you want it to be? Are the aesthetics how you want it to be? And another really important factor here is obviously we're in the beauty industry and cleanliness is such a big thing. And some beauty salons or rooms or clinics are really, really, clean and fresh and clinical, shall we say. And I think that is such a nice vibe. And if you are, obviously we're all clean, right? We're all clean. And I think that if you are one of those people that hones in on your atmosphere and your cleanliness and all the rest of it, it is a really good thing to promote, and it is a really good thing to show about you and your space. And that's just one thing that popped into my head. But yeah, think about ways that you can create a relaxing, enjoyable experience for your clients, and make sure that that is tied in with your values and what your business stands for and everything that you want to be known for. And how can you add that into your salon experience? And the other thing, number 4, the fourth thing is, 4th out of 7, is how can you go above and beyond? And this is such a big topic. And I think that if you're in the Beauty Build Facebook group, you'll have seen that I've done a really in-depth training on how to stand out from the crowd. And that is such a good one. If you're not in there, go to the link in the description and get inside my private community. There's a really good training on how to stand out from the crowd. And that all comes in with going above and beyond, right? It's about how do you go above and beyond when they see you, so in your communications and your customer service, in whatever you put out, how do you make the client feel like you're going above and beyond and standing out from others? And then how do you do that when they're with you? And then how do you do that when they're away from you, when they've left? How do you keep in touch? How do you do all of that type of thing? And just go above and beyond for these people, because if you're a beauty pro that goes the extra mile to exceed client expectations, you are going to do very, very well. In my experience, and I can say this because obviously I've been in the industry for 12 years, and the people that do go above and beyond, and they're in this positive space because of it, right? They don't get down in the dumps and think, oh, I'm doing too much and I'm not getting paid enough, right? If everything aligns and you're happy to do, to put the client first, to make them feel valued, and you're doing these things to grow your relationships with them and create that loyalty, in my experience, what I have seen is that pays you back tenfold. Okay, because the loyalty is really strong, the trust it builds, that know, like, and trust, all the rest of it, so strong, and more doors open. Okay, the positivity flows. It's such a good thing. You can't ever, and I have had people say to me like that they have gotten a bit to that point where they kind of resent doing X, Y, and Z. And do you know what that comes down to? That comes down to having crap pricing. Every time I've spoken to somebody that's like, why would I do like this? There's an extra headache or it's extra whatever. That comes down to the people that are running their business cheap as chips. And that's obviously why they feel resentful for doing extra, because they think, well, I'm not earning enough. Well, duh. Of course you're not. So anyway, that's a little caveat that I wanted to add on there. But think about, how can you go above and beyond? How can you exceed that client expectations? Right? You can add in some sort of element of surprise. Is it that you add in element of that loyalty type of scheme that I teach as well, where you would give them some sort of surprise and they don't need to know about it? Little kind of unexpected gestures or little unexpected personalized touches. These small details. And there are so many things you can do, by the way, that don't break the bank. So have a little brainstorm about your setup, your business, what you offer, and how you can go above and beyond in a way that's kind of valuable to the client, and it creates more of a memorable experience for that client, but doesn't necessarily cost you any more money or massive amounts of time, right? Have a think about that. And there are loads of ways. So I really want to get your cogs turning today, because as I say, it's important. So the 5th thing is, and it all ties in, guys, it really does. But the 5th thing, because I wanted to think about how we could separate these bits, is how you're going to be building strong relationships. Because we know it's important to build strong relationships with our clients. We know that if they're not coming back, then we need to find another one. We know that they are going to value us more and be more loyal to us if they feel that connection with us. So how are we building a strong relationship with a client, right? So you have got so many different strategies online for building trust from the get-go before they even come into you, right? You've got the fact that you can be posting about the other clients that you have and the results that you get for them, showing them social proof, showing them that you know your stuff. That is going to build trust. That is going to build a bit of a relationship. Then you have different strategies when it comes to actually being vulnerable with your clients and connecting with them on, mutually things that they actually they value and you value, or experiences that you've had that they've had, and just showing them that you understand them as a human and on a human level so that they can relate to you and your lifestyle. That is also another thing that's going to create a really strong connection between you and your clients. There's so many different ways that you can do that through, your social media before they've even come into you. And then when they're in with you, it's the kind of discussions that you have with them. It's the consultations that you have with them. It's how much care and attention you take when you're talking to them, when you're doing the service, when you're, actually giving them their aftercare advice. I've been to many places, they just rush me and then they don't give me any aftercare advice. There's no follow up and I never go back. Why would you want to be that place? You just wouldn't. And then obviously, as I just mentioned, is there any follow up? Are you one of the businesses that does incorporate email marketing or text message marketing into your business? You don't have to have a system to do this. You don't have to have all singing, all dancing. But I am going to get onto technology in a minute, so I'm not going to go too far. I just want to get your cogs turning about these things. So think about the strategies that you do currently use. This seems to be the pattern here, isn't it? With each step, think about what you're currently doing and then think about how you can enhance that for the client experience. So do that, think about how you can do that, because you want to maintain regular kind of communication and relationship building with your clients. That is what I will say. And number 6 is technology, right? You need to be able to leverage that a little bit. So whether or not you want an all singing, all dancing system that does these things for you on automation, which I do highly recommend. I think it's well worth the money to be able to do that. But say you're just starting out and you want to leverage a little bit of technology, there are free versions of pretty much everything, right? And think about how that technology that's out there, so we're talking about booking systems, we're talking about email marketing systems, all of these things, how are they enhancing your client experience? Websites, everything. Obviously, if you've been in my world a little while, you'll know that I highly, highly recommend an online booking system, because it sends out things like the reminders and the confirmations and the T's and C's and, all the rest of it. It makes you look so much more professional, which enhances the client experience. And there are so many people that prefer the convenience of being able to book their own appointments, manage their own appointments, and just get it done really fast in their own time, rather than having to either pick up the phone and speak to somebody or go back and forth in text message with somebody or DMs, So there are so many benefits of having the booking system, but not only that, it does enhance your client experience. That should be the top of the list. The other things, like I've mentioned, email marketing. Okay, if you're doing email marketing to keep in touch with people, you are one of the few. Not many beauty business owners do it. They think that they're not a big enough business to do it. They think, or that maybe they don't have the time to do it. And if you are doing it, trust me, you are going to stand out. And those people that are on your email list, that stay on your email list, are going to be more loyal. And it's one of the best marketing tools in the world, literally. And you can do it for free. I want you to have a little research. If you don't already do email marketing to keep in touch, or to remind people of seasonal offers, or to send birthday offers, or, whatever it is you have going on in your business, to remind people and to keep in touch, I highly recommend you have a little brainstorm and have a little research, because there are so many good systems out there where you can automate these things and it'll be free. You can do it for free, depending on the size of your database of clients. But yeah, I remember that my one was free up until like 300 people, and that was, you could send a daily email. So that's very, very good. Very, very good. So technology, utilize it and think about how you can integrate it into your business so that you can actually keep in touch and improve that client experience. And the last thing, number 7, is it number 7? Yes. So number 7 is to basically think about, at the moment, how do you handle and gain feedback from your clients? And how do you resolve their issues? Okay. What I mean by this is it's really important to actively ask them for feedback. And again, not many beauty business owners do this, because I think we all just get lost in the mundane. I did in my beauty business. We all just get too busy, too caught up doing the day to day. So we're busy with clients, we're back to back. The last thing we're thinking about is asking them for feedback, or we think it's cheeky, or we think, we don't want to burden them with asking them to do anything for us, right? Well, why not? If you've got a good relationship with somebody, ask them for feedback. Ask them for feedback. And the reason being is, because not many people do it. And what it will do is it helps you to stand out, shows that you care about the client, it enhances that experience for them, and then you can use that information that they give you to actually give the clients what they want instead of just guessing what they want all the time, right? Because you don't actually know what they want all the time. We can understand our ideal clients as best we can, but there might be different phases that they go through sometimes that we just need to know about, or they may be thinking in their mind, oh, it'd be really good if this beauty business did this service, but how are you going to know if you don't ask them that specific question? You might not know. And then you might be introducing services into your menu and no one wants them. And then you've got to go out and find a different client, an entirely different, range of people, because the ones that you have didn't really want it in the first place. So that's what I mean when I say things like grow with your clients, innovate for your clients, take this opportunity to gain information from them and work with them to wow them and actually create this real big boost in your relationship and in the loyalty that they show you. So think about it. How are you gaining information at the moment? How are you implementing that back into your business? How do you deal with any of their issues? How can we enhance that part of the relationship that you have with your clients? Because if there's any, bits that you want to, anything that the client comes to you and says, this could be done better, then great. Isn't it a great opportunity for you to actually grow from that? As long as obviously you're always handling your clients' feedback and inquiries and any issues with professionalism, then you're onto a winner and it only enhances the relationship. So if you ever had somebody say something along the lines of, this actually happened and I didn't actually love that, or this happened and whatever, and like this didn't last as long as I wanted it to, or whatever, as long as you're leading with value and sharing experience and leading with education and being professional and wanting to come at conversations from a place of let's build on this relationship and create some trust and loyalty, you're always going to win, always. So really have a think about that, all of those things that I've mentioned, and think, how can I continuously keep improving and learning from my clients and putting this into my business. So just to recap for you, obviously it's super important to retain your clients. This is why we're talking about enhancing and creating a memorable client experience in your beauty business. This episode is here for you to start getting your cogs turning. First of all, how can you understand your clients' needs and preferences? Okay, how are you doing that now, and how can you effectively, communicate that you understand them? Second one was personalizing. How can you personalize the client experience? Third one was how can you create a more welcoming, more comfortable, whatever environment in your space? How can we enhance the space? Number 4 was how can you go above and beyond? And as I said, link in the description to join the Beauty Build for the training on that. Number 5, how can we actually build more of a stronger relationship? Number 6, how can we use technology? Number 7, how can we handle and gain feedback? Because then we know how to enhance and also resolve issues if need be. So I hope that helps. I hope that's given you food for thought and you can start looking at those 7 ways of basically creating the best client experience in your beauty business. What I encourage you to do is have a think, have a brainstorm about each section, kind of give it a little bit of an audit if you like, and think about how you do it already, how you could improve on it. Are there specific areas that you think maybe I need to improve on this bit more than the other? Have we got this bit down to a T maybe? Okay, and then just implement some new strategies into your business. I'm super excited to hear from you as well. If you're listening to this episode, take a screenshot, pop it on your stories, and if you've got any questions, I will personally answer you if you DM me if you need any help with this. How is that? I'll speak to you soon. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and gained valuable insights that will help you in your beauty business and life. If you did, please take a screenshot and tag me in your stories. If you've got any questions or comments, please feel free to reach out to me on any of my socials. The links are always in the descriptions. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and leave us a review. Your feedback helps us improve and bring you more and more great content. Until next time, keep building that business.